Uh. Yeah. Look. I could say the world on a Thursday, get drunk Friday, pack all Saturday and Sunday the highway. Yeah.
DJ Hustlenomics, this shit bang,
I could say
broski.
the world on a Thursday, get drunk Friday, pack all Saturday and Sunday the highway. Do it for the thrills, bitch. I'm drilling them drill bits. Shorty on the sideline, flanking, I'ma still hit. You gotta know when you approach.
All right, people, we are back. Happy Sweetest Day. Fellas, make sure, look, Sweetest Day is for you, okay? Your girl has February, what is it, 14th or 15th?
14th.
February 14th is their day. Sweetest Day is your day, bro. Make sure shorty going, hitting the stove, getting you a nice steak, you know what I mean, some seafood. If she don't cook, make sure she ordering that shit for you. Sweetest Day is your day, man. Make sure you get you a gift, too. Ladies, y'all stop being so goddamn greedy. Y'all got Christmas, you got your birthday, you got Valentine's Day, and basically any other goddamn holiday is about you. It's all about you. Stop it. Give your man what he deserves, okay? Now, there's some niggas out here that got girls, too, that don't deserve shit. Y'all niggas, y'all fall in the back. Y'all get some sharks, 6-piece, you know what I'm saying, some barbecue sauce. Man, you call it a date, nigga. But you niggas, the good bros out here, man, make sure you getting what you're supposed to get tonight, King. Peace. It's another episode of BlvdAve Radio. I am your boy, Logan the Machine, a.k.a. Old Man Logan, a.k.a. Logan the Great. Okay, we are here Saturday night. We're about to talk about a couple of things, not necessarily getting into that whole entertainment news, music news, all that bag. I got some certain stuff that I want to talk about. I'm going to talk about those things, and we're going to get up out of here, all right? There's so many options out there for y'all if you want to hear about this, that, and the third. Y'all go check out Button. Y'all go check out everybody else. Right here, you're going to get some one-on-one content. You're going to get my thoughts. You're going to hear my boy Vern thoughts. And, man, I hope y'all rocking with it. So far, so good, all right? So I posed the question to y'all, and I'm going to pose the question to Vern, and I'm going to see what he says when I say this. Do you want to be good, or do you want to be great? Vern, do you want to be good, or do you want to be great?
Greatness, man. I'm seeking greatness, bro.
Now, when you hear that, what goes through your head? Because I started saying this to my homie Joe. Shout out to Joe. Do the Hot Take Wrestling podcast with Joe. And Joe, we was having a conversation. He was just like, yo, bro, I just want to be cool. Like, I want to make sure we get these episodes done, blah, blah, blah. I said, oos. We have some wrestling shit because there's some wrestlers are Samoan. Oos is Samoan. It's slang for like, bro. So I said, oos. I said, do you want to be good or do you want to be great? That's it. Like, do you want to be good? Do you just want? It's like good is being content. Do you want to be content or do you want to be great? Are you willing to do what you have to do to be great, or at least the pursuit of greatness? Some people are shy. Some people are scared. Some people are afraid of that. So, people, all of y'all, question of the week: do you want to be good or do you want to be great?
Low-key, that's some pimp shit, though. That's some shit I definitely tell a woman.
You should absolutely tell your woman that.
Or you want a great relationship.
Yeah.
It's a different commitment level.
It's different. And it shows a lot about a person's psyche when you pose something to them. Because good and great, they're not too far off from each other. But it's a difference. And you have to understand that. It's a difference still between the two. So that's how we starting off 106, man. I hope y'all had a good week so far. Me, myself, your boy was on a date last night. I went to go see Halloween Kills. Michael Myers is back in theaters. Headed towards a $50 million weekend.
Okay, that nigga old now, bro.
Mike is old as shit.
Well, you gotta have a son eventually.
Mike old as hell. It was a part in the movie, not to spoil, you know what I mean, but it was a part of the movie they take the mask off. Like, Mike got gray hair. It's like, this nigga, y'all let this old ass nigga kill y'all like that? And he ain't missed the step, bro. Ain't missed the step. I didn't really care for the movie. Now, I just talk about this. This will kind of be part of the entertainment news I do talk about. So, I've been anticipating this movie since last year. You know, they rebooted it in 2018. They came out that Halloween, like 2 weeks before that Halloween. And, you know, it was a success. It was great. They made some steps forward in terms of horror slasher films. You know what I'm saying? It was progressive. So when the news came out that they were going to make that one the first of a trilogy, so the trilogy was Halloween, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. Now, I am a lifer horror film fan. Jason, Freddy, Mike, those are some of my favorites. If y'all done tuned in to the Decoded episode, not Decoded, Director's Chair, we done Nightmare on Elm Street before. Never touched on Friday the 13th or Halloween, but we really didn't need to because it was like, you know, the movies were still coming out. So fast forward, COVID hit, the movie got delayed, they pushed it back to this year. So it finally releases in theaters. And I was hyped, man. Everybody was hyped for the film, you know, because the 2018 film was so good. There are some high points in it. There are some low points in it. For me personally, the first 20 minutes of the film was great, and the last 20 minutes of the film was great. Now, I don't think that I'm not going to sit here and say it's the biggest body count in slasher movie history, but it's a pretty big body count in this new movie, in Halloween Kills. And it's also, believe it or not, an anti-hero portion in the film.
Gotta go with the trends, bro.
I was just like, yo, we gonna make Mike an anti-hero now? Like, this where we at with it? But, yeah, y'all will know when y'all see it, man. If you're a horror fan, don't just take my word for it. I didn't really care for it. If I had to grade it between A to F, it's probably gonna get a C, C+, C-. Maybe Halloween Ends will be a lot better. But this one didn't really do it for me. It didn't really live up to the hype. And it's available on Peacock. So you can watch it for free if you got the Peacock streaming app. So, you know what I'm saying? So y'all horror fans, you go on that bow. You ain't got to pay for it. A lot of these movies are available on streaming, you know, the night they debut in theaters. But you got to pay like $30. So this one, you didn't have to do that. It was, hey, you go on there. It was similar to HBO Max.
Yeah, I love how they do it.
HBO Max is great on that front. Man. Now, I heard they wasn't going to continue that next year.
Maybe. They got to get the buzz.
Me personally, I think they should continue to do it.
They give them hands over fists of cash.
Yes.
Get that
yeah.
Fucking cost per month.
And see that, and you notice that went away. You remember they used to say all the time, you get the first 30 days free.
Right.
Ain't none of that no more. And you either paying the whole year up front or you going to go monthly. Yeah. All that free 30 days, that's out the window. But rightfully so. Like, these companies, they want to get paid. They deserve to get paid. They're giving you a movie that you normally would have to go put on clothes, hit the show, spend another $20, $30 at the concession stand getting, you know, nachos, popcorn, whatever have you. You know, and you can just watch the shit in the comfort of your own home. So why not just pay that $9.99? You know what I mean? So, yeah, y'all don't have to necessarily hit the theater for Halloween Kills. Me personally, I wanted to go have that whole experience, theater experience. Unfortunately, it didn't really live up to my expectation this time. But it's cool. It's cool. Next time. It's always next time. Halloween Ends comes out next year. So that's that on that. And we are getting ready to go into Halloween season. Vern, you got any plans for Halloween?
No. Hell no. I've never had plans for Halloween.
Me neither.
Never. There's somebody doing a party. We do have a friend doing a party. So we slide that text message through. That's what I'm going to do.
Her ass must have went to sleep because she definitely said she was going to send that. And text ain't came yet. So we're definitely looking to see if it's going to be a Halloween party. But you know what? If it does come through, this is going to probably be the first, might be the last, but it's definitely going to be the first Halloween costume party I've been to as an adult.
I definitely did I did the Phantom and the Opera. Had to do half mask. Had to. The cape. Had to do that shit. I did that before. So it was some shit out in the Elgin years back. So you remember.
Yeah.
Years back. So I definitely did a Halloween party before. Okay. They decent.
I've never been to one.
See, the problem is, bro, unless you don't want to be the motherfucker in there with the worst looking motherfucker. Yeah. You go to them motherfuckers dressing like, damn.
I can only imagine the women in there, sexy Chuckies, sexy Freddy's, just sexy everything, just walking around in there. Like the women get real creative on Halloween, so.
Especially late on at night.
All right, man. But while we on entertainment, man, let's talk about something that's real pertinent to entertainment, culture, just culture, period. Because This special debuted on Netflix a couple of days ago. Was it a couple of days ago or last week?
Damn, I can't remember if it was last weekend, but I know a lot of people just watched this week. They got time to sit down and watch it.
So the Dave Chappelle special, it debuted on Netflix, and it was called The Closer, right?
Yeah, The Closer.
The Closer. And it has just caused so much controversy, so much conversation, and even some of the comedians that they've been championing Dave for this particular stand-up, because what Damon Wayne said. Damon Wayne said, and I quote, Dave freed the comedy slaves.
Yeah.
Now, it's been revered and referred to as such because Dave talks about a lot of controversial topics within this special, The Closer. We talk about the trans community. We talk about the gay community as a whole. And it's some takes that aren't necessarily PC friendly. We're getting some real honest takes here from Dave. And I think not only is it from Dave, but it's some takes that resonate across the board. People are just afraid to say it. So, with that being said, Vern, I'm going to ask you, what are some of your thoughts about the special and some of the things that were discussed within the special? And, overall, do you feel like this is just people overreacting? Or is this kind of like what Dave wanted? He wanted conversation to kind of explode across the board when it comes to some of these things.
See, my take on it was like, it's definitely, if anybody took criticism of it, it's an anti-gay thing. Nah, not at all. And this wasn't even about lesbians. It wasn't about lesbians. I'll be honest. Mm-hmm. This is about men.
Yeah.
This is about the attack on manhood.
Yeah.
That on manhood, because his gripe wasn't with the lesbian community. It is when he had a joke about he got in a fight with a lesbian. Not to spoil any jokes, but his real gripe was on men. Look, this is my opinion. It's not Tim's opinion. This is Big V's opinion. These men out here being bitches. You know what I'm saying? And at the day, end of the day, a man has to be a man. I don't give a shit who you fuck in the bed. You can suck as many cocks as you want in your life.
Yeah.
You can take as many. Look, you can sleep with who you want. I have no problem with gay men.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have a problem with men who, here's the thing. I said this earlier. I personally can't go out there and say I identify as an Irish white man, being a black man.
Right.
Even though, technically, I'm actually part Irish.
Right.
I got a real claim to that.
Mm-hmm.
But a man can go out here and claim to be a woman, even though he doesn't have a menstrual cycle. He's never going to have a period. He's never going to drop
conceive.
an egg. He's never going to conceive a child, but he can say he's a woman.
I identify as a woman.
Come on now. That's an identity crisis.
Yeah.
At least if I say I'm a white man, it's not that I have an identity crisis, even though everybody else was. I just identify more with my white DNA.
Yeah.
These men don't have women DNA. They're born a man. They just can't accept their manhood. That is clinical.
Yeah.
That's clinical. And so where do we draw the line of what's acceptable versus what's clinical? Because he mentioned about being born a man, being born a male. Now let's say male, being born a male is a fact. Being born a female is a fact. One have testes, one have ovaries.
Right.
What are we doing? And the biggest point he made, he said, we got all these people doing blackface.
Right.
So what's the difference? These men out here putting on dresses and wigs and saying, "Oh, I'm a woman." Isn't that woman face?
Yeah.
It's the same difference.
Yeah. And I was having a conversation with a young lady. I got to get back on the Zoom and do that interview with her. It's an interview coming soon. Interviews on the Ave is returning. We touched on not necessarily men in general, but just black men having to, dress in drag to kind of quote unquote make it. You know what I'm saying? The Tyler Perry's, Eddie Murphy's done it before. Who's someone else that done the drag thing? Martin's done it. Wesley's done it. You know, Wesley don't never need to do that shit. Wesley make an ugly ass bride, but you know, by and large, I applaud Dave for what he's saying and having the courage to use his platform for such controversial topics, because you know what I mean. We're gonna be honest here. You know what I mean. And this, what I'm getting ready to say, me and Vern may share these opinions, but I'm not gonna sit there and say that this is his opinions, is mine. I feel like there are certain agendas going on in not just America, but the world. Yeah. And right now, there is a huge gay agenda that is taking place. You know what I'm saying? Where gays are like, hey, we here to stay. We're not going nowhere. You know? And that's great. That's fine and dandy. You want to be acknowledged, and you should be acknowledged as you are. You shouldn't be judged for who you are inside. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that's wrong, because it's not. But you have to understand there's two sides to that coin. When you want to be acknowledged and you want to sit at that table, it ain't just about being acknowledged. You gotta, if you can dish it, you gotta be able to receive it.
Exactly.
And it ain't always just about, you know what I'm saying, dishing it. You gotta receive it sometimes. You have to receive some of these criticisms if you're going to say and make a point to be, yo, I deserve to be at this table. You know, as you should be. But understand, this is what comes with that. It ain't just about the good parts of being at the table. Right. Same thing with feminism. It ain't just about the good parts of being at the table and being acknowledged. There's criticisms that come along with that as well. And we as people, we need to be able to say, hey, you know what? It's okay to agree to disagree.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And in this society, for whatever reason, we're in a place where we don't want to acknowledge that things aren't always going to be in the manner that we want them to be. You know, so but I want to touch on what Damon Wayne said, and it kind of just tells you where the culture has been as a whole when it comes to creating content. You have to be mindful of certain things you say and how you say it. There's been times doing BlvdAve. Now, I'm not signed to anybody contractually doing this show. I'm doing the show independently. I'm doing it on my own. But there are people, you know, they're signed to these major, you know, streaming sites, these companies, and, you know, I mean, they have an obligation, you know, contractually that, hey, you know what, we don't want to offend anybody, so be mindful of how you say and do certain things. So, Damon Wayne saying, yo, he freed the comedy slaves. Like, Vern, how does that statement hit you? Because to me, it can't hit me in the face. Like, yo, like, how long have our entertainers kind of been conditioned to do things in a certain manner and kind of teeter along certain lines to make sure that they don't offend anybody? When by and large, most of the comedians, at least in the black community, I can't really speak for the white comedians as much, but in black comedy, there's a lot of like shit talking and talking about people going on in the joke format. It don't necessarily mean there's any malice behind it, but it's, yo, hey, we're gonna make fun of this person right now. And for years, I'm gonna say maybe at least the last 10 years, we haven't necessarily been able to see that.
Right.
So what do you think Damon was actually like conveying? Is it pretty much that he was conveying, or is it a little bit deeper, do you think?
Well, deeper, I won't say deeper, but see, you know, and you know, we, like you said earlier, we don't want to delve into politics on this show, but let's be real. The cancel culture is one of these things that both sides of the aisle is tired of.
Yeah.
You know, because here's the thing. We're supposed to be the land of the free, freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
When you say some shit out of pocket, now you get canceled.
Yeah.
So what's going on now is the cancel culture.
Yeah.
So now people want to say what the hell they want to say. You know, if these people can be loud, proud, and I'm not talking about particularly the gay people, just anybody.
Anybody.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, everybody should have their freedoms to say what the fuck they want to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be canceled because you have it. Now, there's a difference when you're just a bigot. You know what I'm saying? We're not being a bigot by questioning the trans agenda. And I say that because if I go out here and put my hands on a woman,
mm-hmm.
especially as a woman I'm dating, I'm going to be arrested. They're going to call that domestic abuse.
Right.
But a trans man, I don't know, trans man, trans whatever. If a man, a born male, trans to a woman, goes and fight for the UFC, could break a bitch skull and get a trophy off of this, a championship.
And there's been instances of that.
Yeah, it has. I ain't saying this for no reason. I'm saying this because this is exactly what the fuck actually happened. We had a trans woman. Well, I guess that's the term for a man.
Trans woman, yeah.
Yeah, trans woman beat the fucking brakes off this natural born woman and broke her skull. Yeah. And she didn't get arrested at all. She got a fucking championship for it in the bag. Yeah. That's a fucking problem. And if we can't talk about this openly, then what the fuck are we talking about? Exactly. That's abuse, bro. Like, this man he's a born male with testosterone still pumping, and they can never stop the testosterone.
Right. You can take as many of them, what is them pills they be taking? Estrogen pills as you want. Right. That testosterone is just natural.
It's natural. Unless you cut these testes off. A lot of them ain't doing that. Right. A lot of them ain't cutting. They want to trans on the look, but they keep that dick in place.
And see, that part to me, I'm just like, yo, if you're going to commit to it, commit to it. Right. That includes cutting your balls off. I'm sorry. Like, if you're going to say, go to those lengths to say, hey, look, your name here, identify as a woman, then yeah, you need to remove as much of the male, you know what I'm saying, in you as possible. And if you're shaving your Adam's apple so that isn't displayed and showing as much, yeah, you need to get rid of your balls. Why are you keeping your balls if you want to identify and live your life as a woman?
But bro, are they really? They never. Here's the problem. They're never gonna be a woman. A woman has a menstrual cycle. A trans is never gonna have a period. They're never gonna do that. Now, I ain't gonna.
Send me a bad bitch though.
Like, damn. Like, what the fuck?
Sydney being Sydney Star. Like,
I'm not gonna. I'm gonna be like that. Look, the science is gonna get there one day where we actually gonna change them on a DNA on a cellular level. We're gonna get there because we unlock the mysteries of God's universe every day. We're just not there yet. Right. And until we get there, these people are having an identity crisis. Yeah. And we gotta have, instead of having doctors who say there's no such thing as a sex change. It's mutilation of the genitalia. You know what I'm saying? They're mutilating the penis or the vagina to resemble something, but it's never going to fully function in today's technology. Like, a man is never going to be able to produce an egg. A woman's never going to be able to produce a semen. Right. Not yet. Not yet. Once we get there, whole new conversation.
Do you think that's possible though? To eventually get to that point.
You got CRISPR-Cas9. That's DNA editing. We'll get there. That's out right now. We can change the DNA. They're doing tests on that of how that interacts with live already cells. But we're gonna get there one day because God has given us that freedom of will to really manipulate His creation. But we're just not there yet. Yeah. Once we get there, whole new conversation. We're just not there yet.
And unfortunately, most of us will probably be long gone when this takes place, but maybe not. Or, now, I don't know if you were a fan of this show that was a Netflix show. What was it? Altered Carbon?
Yeah. Great show.
If we can, maybe it'll be, now that may be down the line. I don't know if we're going to be here for that, but I could maybe see something going in that direction before just the natural mutation of genes. I mean, well, you said it's in place now, but I just think it's easier to kind of transfer your essence, your conscience, from one being to another.
One shell
to another, yeah. Just to reference the human body as a shell is crazy. But if we think just, and just kind of going down this rabbit hole, like as we were sitting here talking, a Total Recall popped into my head. And I was like, Total Recall is kind of like an early version of The Matrix. Yeah. Like, I wonder if that was Matrix inspired, because in a sense, that is what's taking place when we say, oh, we're identifying as this, we're identifying as that. We're presenting ourselves much like what people do in the quote-unquote Matrix. When you're on social media, what are you doing? You're presenting yourself at your best. All times, you know what I'm saying? Now some people, they'll get on there and if they having a bad day, hey, you're gonna hear about their bad day. So I'm not gonna say everybody do that, but by and large, people use social media as a source to create the persona and to live out the lifestyle that they want to live. So it's a slippery slope, man. Just this whole conversation about what Dave did with this special. And it really opens the doors for conversation. And it has to be unrestricted, unfiltered conversation. And that's the big part about that. I love what you said when you said that it was canceling cancel culture.
Oh, yeah.
And that's because that's something that definitely has to take place. We have to understand that, hey, look, and I think I made this point the last time we was on here, but if I didn't, I'll say it again. Even with our friends, we kind of get to a point where we think our friends are just supposed to agree with every single thing that we do. We're not supposed to judge what they do. They're not supposed to judge what we do. We're going to ride with you to the end because we friends. And newsflash, it doesn't always work that way. I don't have to agree with my friend on how they're carrying out something, or they don't have to agree with me on how I'm doing something. We can still coexist. We can still be friends. It's not, something that's a deal breaker that says, okay, we can't be friends anymore.
That's a point he made. That's a point he made.
And society as a whole need to get to that, which is why it was such a great point to be made.
It's like I said, honestly, was it his funniest special? And
I don't think it was intended to be.
I don't think it was. It was but it was his. It's one of those critical moments. Like, what are we doing? We're at a point in our society where we're just so in disagreement with everything. Everybody's being judged on everything. We're the most. We're almost. I was watching CNN. They're saying we're like the most split since the Civil War, bro. Like, is that where we're really at? We on the verge of another one of those?
It's funny you bring that up. But I want to put a button on the Dave talk real quick before I move to that point. If we're being truthful, the special prior to this one wasn't necessarily funny either. It was dealing a lot with the George Floyd, tragedy, because it was a tragedy. If you sat there and watched that, if you could call it anything less than a tragedy, then shame on you as a person, as a human being. That man was not resisting in any way, shape, or form. That back of that little Ford Explorer was small as hell. Dude was kind of big. And he was freaking out. You know why he was freaking out? Because in America, things are different when you're on this side of the color spectrum. He literally you could see the fear in that man's eyes. Anybody that watched that trial and saw that occurrence, I dare you to tell me otherwise. In newsflash, every African-American male goes through this. Now, the way we go through those motions when we get pulled over, yeah, the scenarios will be different. We're going to do kind of things, different to whatever we feel is going to get us back home. That's what we're going to do. I don't know about you, bro, but if a cop stops me, I'm not necessarily asking, why did you stop me? Right. Because I got to make sure, what's going on with this cop. Right. If he's not the same color as me, I'm probably not going to ask him that. Now, does that make me a pussy? No, it doesn't. It just means I want to go the fuck home. I don't want to be on anybody's t-shirt. I don't want to be a Black Lives Matter agenda thing. Like, I want to go home. So, in order to avoid that, there are certain things we're going to do to be able to go home. Not saying fuck shit don't take place, but we just as African American men have to approach law enforcement differently than, say, someone that's of a different color, and say a white man. A white man can absolutely say, hey, officer, why was I stopped? We've seen several instances of, white males, who may be, schizophrenic or have some type of mental disability, and they'll be wielding some type of weapon, and hey, the police are doing their best not to shoot them. Right. But a conscious black man that isn't suffering from any mental health, hey, we might just give you a little attitude, and you want to let the whole clip off on us.
Right. But you know what though? Let's take race out of this shit. Right. Let's take race completely out of this situation. Let's take it out. We literally was going to arrest a man for $20 fucking dollars. You know how much it costs to house an inmate? It literally costs roughly $70,000 a year to house an inmate. Because that shit ain't free over there.
Yeah.
They got, you got to pay the guards. You got electricity bill. You got to feed them. Feeding alone is going to knock out the... So we have to sit here and start thinking, what the fuck are we arresting people for?
Right.
If this shit is $20, that's a ticket, my nigga.
Yeah.
Get this nigga a
Give him that ticket, hey.
Go home, we're talking about, because it's counterfeit. Who gives a fuck? What are we recouping?
Right.
Oh, you got a counterfeit $20. This is all about counterfeit $20 with George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
And the judge gets a salary that's way more than $20. The rest of the office is getting what 60, 70, you know. It's like, at the end of the day, write this man a fucking citation. He ain't got to go to jail because it's not even... That motherfucking office is about to pay overtime. We got to pay him overtime. He's going to be paid. So, it's like... So, what are we doing? We're instead of being a land of the free and just and being creative about shit, we just lock these niggas up.
Right.
Lock them up. Go back. So, it literally, like, the store owner could have did a fucking insurance claim. It was so many other options over this funky-ass $20 goddamn dollars.
Was this person's life worth $20?
Right. Now, look how much shit got fucked up in the name of George Floyd. I know they wish they would have never, ever mentioned that funky ass, fake ass $20. Because the moment that one window got bashed in, $20 was all done and over.
Yeah.
Think how many insurance claims got paid out.
We've exceeded $20.
Right. Like, think about all the insurance companies like, all this over $20?
Yeah.
Yeah, there got to be some laws changed, bro.
Yeah. One thing about that, and I was glad to see, you know, people unify, you know, not just black people, but just people unify in the name of justice. But I wasn't glad to see us take that justice out in our neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? Freaking, you know, messing up our Walgreens, our whatever. You know, you rioting, you know, you're mad. But, hey, it's an agenda at hand at the end of it. What was that Netflix documentary Ava DuVernay did? The 13th? Was it the 13th? When she was basically talking about how incarceration is like the new form of slavery.
Well, yeah.
So, by and large, what people have to understand is that America is based on agendas. Now, this is my opinion. You know, I know these educated folk might say I'm wrong. There might be some people that ain't educated that might say I'm wrong. But to me, there's all kind of agendas at hand. I tell people, politicians, I know I said we're not going to talk about politics, but there are always some type of an agenda at hand when we are, you know what I'm saying, there's movements going on. It's a particular agenda we want to be seen, we want to be heard. Whether you acknowledge Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, whatever, hell, all that shit is an agenda. Because we say Black Lives Matter doesn't mean white lives don't matter. It don't mean blue lives don't matter. Why people wanted to say, hey, blue lives matter in response to black lives, beyond me. It's just saying, hey, look, let's give black people the common courtesy that they deserve. You know? But here's also the retort. Black people have to understand, we have to show them, yo, we value our lives as well. And as long as we show them that we don't value our lives, it's never going to matter to them either. We have to start valuing our black dollar. Our black dollar stays in our communities all of 2 minutes, I believe it is.
Right.
And it goes right out the window, and it goes and it puts all of these other kids into college. You know what I mean? You let, you know, all these ethnicities come into your community, and they feed you, and they give you drink, and they make their livelihood off of you. You know, we buy these expensive clothing brands. They don't give a damn about you, all in the name of fashion and saying, I got some shit that you don't got. But that's a story for another time. By and large, man, I definitely think people should watch this Dave Chappelle special. You should look at it with an objective eye and understand that he's not being judgmental when he says these things. He's being judgmental of the fact that, yo, this is unfair treatment that we're receiving, that we are being shackled to not being able to say our true opinion. If you're a Trump supporter, guess what? We can still coexist. Trump might have done something for you during his administration run. I saw some shit on Facebook, I think it was, might have even been Twitter too. They got Trump 2024 hats out here. He telling y'all, yo, I'm coming back. I'm about to rerun.
If you're a Trump supporter, you might like this damn Dave Chappelle special.
You might like it because it speaks to your narrative. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and say you're wrong for being a Trump supporter. And that's the other part of it too. We have to get past that. We can agree to disagree. Because why? We don't live in the same America. Your America isn't necessarily my America. And we have to be able to acknowledge that, understand that, and move forward. If we can do that, man, things will be so much easier in this lifetime in terms of America. I can't really speak for abroad because I got a couple of places I've gone to. You know what I mean? But hey, you know, I can't tell you life in the eyes of a Caucasian male. I can only tell you life in the eyes of me. But what was I at? I was trying to make a point here. Damn, what was that? I was coming around to this for a reason. If Trump does come back, who's the strongest opponent? Does Kamala go and try to be president? Or who comes to the forefront?
All day, if we're gonna get in this, this is my forte. Mm-hmm. It's Newsom. It's Gavin Newsom all day. You have to understand, it was gonna be Cuomo from New York.
Oh, they got rid of him. They getting him out of here.
They got him with the women that got you. But they try to get Newsom with the recall vote. Mm-hmm. That motherfucking, they did not recall him. We got to know, he is the next presidential candidate for the Democratic Party all day. He got the looks. He's the governor of Cali. They doing their thing in Cali.
They low-key, they trying to get him out of there too, though.
Then that was the recall. Yeah. It did not work.
Yeah.
Now it just highlighted him as he going to win every time. That's the one to watch out for the Democratic Party.
And because ultimately I was sitting there, I'm like, yo, we're seeing, all right, Biden ticket was him and Kamala. We saw a man with a woman. I'm like, is the next presidential race going to reflect something similar to this? Will we see a Republican do the same thing, or will we see another Democrat do the same thing? Do we want to continue with this thing of inclusion, saying, hey, look, our women counterparts deserve to be acknowledged and, you know, be a running mate? Or are we going to go back to the traditional, you know, two guys?
Bro, if they do, I'm going to tell you this. This is my dream. If they do Gavin Newsom as the head, because he's older and he earned his stripes, he's the head of the ticket, and we bring in AOC as the vice, bro, that's a ticket. That's a powerful ticket because that's star power.
Is that ticket strong enough to defeat a Donald Trump that's coming back?
It'll defeat Donald Trump, but when it get past a primary, a general.
And does Donald Trump come back with Mike Pence, or does he come back with somebody else?
Mike done. He gonna yeah. That's gonna be the problem.
So let's, since like you said, this is your bag. I was just gonna say, so who would be the running mate?
Rubio would be the ideal running mate. However, would they go for Hispanic?
Why wouldn't they? They're getting ready to be the biggest minority. I mean, that's going to be not the biggest minority, just they're going to be the majority.
Rubio is look, regardless of how you might feel about his personal politics, he speaks well. He got a great American story. You know what I'm saying? His family's immigrant. You know, he is a strong candidate. But I don't think the Republican Party can get past their racism. That's my personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? That's my personal opinion.
No, I think that's a good opinion, a good take, because you're absolutely right. They would have to be able to get past those personal transgressions in order to, you know, get that position again, which is the presidential candidacy. I know I said we weren't going to talk about politics on here, people. I'm sorry. But in this new Joe Rogan-esque setup, it's kind of hard because everything is politics. It all breaks down into some type of political agenda or basis. You don't have to be the most educated person in the world to see these things. I have some college. I'm not a college, master's degree person. You know what I mean? That's not me. I got common sense. And I'm able to look at things objectively, and I'm able to give things. What was it called in high school and in the school period? Critical thinking, right?
Critical thinking. Yeah.
It's called critical thinking for a reason, because you're supposed to be objective in the pursuit of that answer. So that's why it's so critical, because you got to think about things from all, spectrums, all sides of the spectrum. It's no different than me having an agenda with this cup. It's the reason this cup is right there. Maybe I'm going to try to get some merch going soon. Haha. You know what I'm saying? It's all about political agendas. Why do you think I'm wearing what I'm wearing? When I came back to the table and said, yo, I'm going to do BlvdAve by myself, it's an agenda there. What is the agenda, you may say? I can push myself further than I can push three other women and gentlemen and myself. This is just the God honest truth. If I'm sitting here and I know my agenda, I know my thoughts, my opinions, and I only have to account for what I'm saying, it makes that my job much easier when I come sit in this chair and that record button is lit red. That's all it is. Shit. So, yeah, politics is going to creep in. I'm sorry. It's going to happen. I know I said I was going to try to steer clear of it, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I think it's almost impossible in this day and age, bro.
It is.
It is. It's everything. I mean, even when you turn on the local news, it's politics, bro. Like, the thing about the police shootings are political.
Yeah.
What's going on. Oh, right now, like, in Chicago. We're in Chicago. You got Lightfoot beefing with what's the
FOP?
No, well, she beefing with FOP.
That's been constant.
She's beefing with Robin Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just because over there you saw that shooting. They got the motherfuckers on video.
Yeah,
shooting motherfuckers. Mm-hmm. They got them. Bow, bang, bang. But since it ain't clear enough, ain't no charges been pressed. But that's also because we got rid of cash bail. It's bro. It's like it's all fucking political now, man.
Yeah,
everything.
And it goes back to what I'm saying. Everything is an agenda. Everything. Thank you for bringing that up, though, bro. This thing with the FOP and COVID. Let's touch on that real quick. Where Lightfoot is like, yo, look, because there's a mandate kind of going on. It's going on across the country. It isn't just here. But she's basically said, yo, I can't remember if she said they're going to be paid time off, right, or if they're not going to be paid time off. But they're basically saying, yo, if you don't go get the shot, you ain't on streets.
Right.
And our governor just got into the mix, and Pritzker just said, hey, look, if we have to have the National Guard come and patrol in the midst of this, he's giving Lightfoot her support with this particular matter, because the agenda of everybody getting vaccinated is very real in America. Right. You know what I'm saying? So he said, hey, if we got to have the National Guard out there, that's what we'll do. Right. In the midst of the CPD, you know what I mean, not wanting to take this vaccination. This war that's been going on between her and the FOP, what do you call him? I want to say principal for some reason, but it ain't principal. You know what I mean? The guy that's the head of FOP. You know what I mean? I personally, this is just me, I think the next Chicago mayoral election, Laura's going to be one and done. She's made some very powerful enemies. I'm not sitting there saying what she's trying to do is wrong, because I think by and large there's a lot of stuff she's tried to be progressive with, and she's tried to approach head on. She still has some things where she showed she could be bullheaded and stubborn as well. So it's not like she's just a saint. But by and large, I think she's, tried to take on Chicago politics and things that have been going on here forever, longer than me and you've been here. You know what I mean? And we're just seeing resistance to it.
I mean, I think her she winning was a fluke. If I'm being real 100% about it, I think it was a fluke. They had two black women to vote. You had Perry Winkle, you had her. And you had all these other candidates that just were not even really and running. And I think they did that to split the potential vote. And it so happened everybody was so confused.
Mm-hmm.
She fucked around and got more votes than everybody else. Now, I was personally satisfied with Rahm Emanuel.
Mm-hmm.
Personally satisfied. I mean, now we had the McDonald's situation. But that's a one-off thing, you know. I know they try to hide out. Hey, put him out as the sacrificial lamb. What, 16 shots?
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, and I'm just as a black man, it ain't like he was out here being the most outstanding fucking citizen either.
Mm-hmm.
So he got his ass shot 16 times because he's out here trying to be a fucking thug.
Mm-hmm.
And he got his ass lit up by a racist ass police officer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, stop trying to be little fucking thugs. Straighten your backbone. Get some shit that's resilient to yourself. And we can't keep on jumping on the bandwagon that, oh, this black dude got shot. Stop trying to be a fucking thug out in these streets. You won't have to worry about that shit. If we out here present ourselves as men instead of gangsters, then we ain't got to worry about certain shit. Then this shit become less political. So I'm saying, so I didn't have a problem with Ron. I never did. I don't think we should have got rid of Ron. Rob said, fuck it, I ain't about to go through this bullshit here. He said, this shit is bigger than me.
Yeah.
It was all this other shit, the Black Lives Matter shit was brewing up, the Me Too movement was brewing up, all these other movements. The COVID was hit, bro, he got the fuck up out of here. But, you know, I get it, you know, you got to understand, she's gay. A lot of people ain't vibing with that shit. It's a lot that make her turn into a one-term mayor. I think personally she was a fluke. Now, who's going to take the role, though, is the better question. Who's going to come in and govern Chicago?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You have to have a political. You have to have a super. This is not, even though we're not even the capital. Like the Big Apple is the capital. The Big Apple is the capital of New York.
Yeah.
Chicago should theoretically be the capital of Illinois, but Springfield is. But ain't shit in Springfield. You know, Chicago is the heart and soul of Illinois. So you can't come in here with small town politics. You know what I'm saying? You have to have somebody who's an international thing. We have one of the biggest airports. You know what I'm saying? If you look at more and more of these historical movies, it's more and more got to do with Chicago. You forget how integral Chicago is to the American story.
Chicago is a big component of the American story, and then it isn't reflected as much. It's being reflected now,
right?
But there's so much, and Chicago as a whole, I think, is probably, now I can't speak for New York. I can't speak for Los Angeles. What's another big ecosystem, a big city in the United States?
Those are three biggest. Chicago,
those are basically the three biggest.
New York.
I would go on the record to say that Chicago is probably the best reflection of the melting pot that is the United States of America.
It got to be the biggest.
Yeah.
Because first of all, we're in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
You know how much effort takes in the middle of this motherfucker? You got to get past the borders.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have people that do migrate from the east, from the west, from the south, and land right here in the Midwest, more specifically Chicago.
Right. It's the second city, bro, for a reason.
Yeah. I just think it's age-old principles and things that have been in place here forever that she tried to tackle. And this is the problem, right? Yeah, she's gay, she's a woman, and that's going to be met with resistance just because of those two things.
And don't take what I said earlier. It's my personal opinion. I just know it's a lot of Trump supporters that ain't going for that. We forget just because we're liberal. How many? We're liberal, like what, 60 to 40. 40% is a big ass number.
Yeah.
Imagine you losing 40% of your blood. You dead.
You did, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We got a big conservative base in Illinois, period. Let alone just Chicago. So it's like that is a big issue for them.
Yeah. And that has to be acknowledged. And I think as long as some of those age-old things are still in place, you got to be the right potential candidate, I think, essentially, to try to take those things on. Now, in hindsight, I ain't going to lie. Prep Wrinkle, to me, I thought would have been the better candidate, especially in terms of the way Chicago moves, operates, and, you know, how things are in place. By and large, I think a lot of people held against Prep Wrinkle that Lori Prep, what's her name? Tony Pepperwinkle.
Tony Pepperwinkle.
They held against her that whole pop tax.
Yeah.
And the pop tax was basically to take care of people with mental health.
Right.
That was what it served for. And everybody was in such an uproar about that tax. It was like, oh my God. But by and large, that's why that tax was in place. At least from my understanding. Now, somebody that knows a little bit more about that, you can absolutely come sit in here and tell me I'm wrong.
No, I think we gotta be real.
Yeah.
Soda is sugar.
Mm-hmm.
That shit is unhealthy.
Yeah.
We need to drink more water. We're an obese nation.
Yeah.
So what they did was the same strategy that we don't complain shit about with the tobacco industry. You know cigarettes bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to tax the shit out of it. You want to smoke this shit that's bad for you, we're going to tax the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So they did the same thing for soda. Soda is killing, I'm pretty sure, sugar is killing way more people than tobacco is. You know what I'm saying? We have an obese nation. That diabetes is rampant. Like,
It's real, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you know, they said, fuck it, you gonna drink this unhealthy shit, we gonna tax the shit out of it. And that's what they should do. We got, like you said, everything's a fucking agenda. So if sugar is killing people left and right because they just consume too much of it, let's put a tax on it that makes it more less appealing. For sure. And let's probably do some type of what do you call that when you not sponsor the government, subsidized water.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That way water is cheaper. People drink more water than they drink. So
yeah. You
know, we get so hung up on this dumb shit that we don't look at the big picture.
Yeah. And that ultimately is what needs to take place. We need to all start looking at the big picture. And that's where I'm going to kind of bring it around to this, because I just remembered the point I was going to try to make earlier. As we get ready to close out. Anytime I do talk about politics, and not necessarily politics, but race and racism as it was. Back in the day, things were separate. You had black communities, you had white communities. You had instances where they integrated in terms of entertainment, you know what I'm saying, sports, where, hey, you know what? Joe Louis was just such a hell of a boxer that, hey, the whites wanted to see him too.
Right.
The whites also wanted to see Louis Armstrong and Duke Ellington come up with their compositions, and, hey, they had to go to those places. They had to go to Copacabana. They had to come through the back. But they wanted to see that talent. Here's the thing. I'm going to ask you this. I don't know if I've ever asked you this. I had this conversation often with my guy Jay. A separate but equal society. Now, I don't know if it's necessarily possible in 2021, but had that separate mindset continued, the point to remember when I'm saying separate but equal is I'm saying equal.
Right.
I'm not saying the white people have better health care, better jobs, better et cetera, housing. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that it is equal down the middle. Hey, you know what? You blacks, y'all take the southern portion of the country. Whites, we're going to stay up here in the north. Separate but equal. You've seen instances in society, if you haven't seen it, rather, you've read of blacks creating ecosystems where, hey, we have black banking, we have black grocery stores, clothing, you know what I mean? Black Wall Street, you know, where we were thriving and prospering on our own. We created our own ecosystem. And much like it goes, they destroyed it.
Yeah. Oh shit, my father, he's a history man. They destroyed it. He said they fucking bombed it.
Yeah.
Like they like
it wasn't a fire, they legit bombed it.
They bombed that shit with airplane. They came like a fucking airstrike.
Yeah.
Bomb the shit.
All because they were thriving without what you wanted to give them.
Right.
Black people at the end of it back then, they just wanted freedom. And it was just freedom to live. We didn't ask you for this assistance. It wasn't on no welfare. As far as I know.
Welfare kicked in with FDR. So that wasn't no welfare then.
It wasn't no welfare then. They just wanted what God, they God-given right, freedom. They said, we'll work for what we need. We'll earn our wage. We got no problem with that. We just want the right to be free. And you see what happens when you're allowed to create your... And that's the part that, you know what I'm saying, upsets me when I think about our various communities within the city You know, you have the Chinatowns, and you got, you know, all this, and it's a Chinatown in every city you go to.
Yeah.
Where they thrive and they go, you know, they do their thing. You know what I mean? Black people, what we got here in Chicago? Brownsville, Hyde Park.
Do we know?
That's super duper integrated now.
Right. Exactly.
That's inclusive.
Exactly.
I think I'll say Brownsville is supposed to be, you know, just that's still supposed to be black. Right. But the Hyde Park area, oh no, that's integrated.
That's integrated as fuck. Yeah, it ain't the light skinned blacks no more over there.
Yeah.
That was the you want light skinned blacks, bougie, rich blacks, Hyde Park. Now you go over there, motherfucker, like you said, it's super integrated.
Super integrated.
Got Whole Foods and shit over there.
Yeah. So, and that's why I say, man, you know, just to bring it to a close, it's all about agenda. You have your own agendas. You know what I'm saying? People have to just be mindful of that and say, hey, where does my agenda align with? You know, when you're choosing your presidential candidate, I hate to keep harping on fucking politics, but it is what it is. You're basically aligning your thoughts, your beliefs, your thought process with whatever candidate it is. If you're just being, you know, using common sense. It ain't about if they're a Democrat or they're a Republican. Who do you align with? Morals, beliefs, thoughts, etc. At least what they're projecting to you and presenting to you. Me, myself, personally, when Obama went up against, what was my man's name?
Mitt Romney?
Mitt Romney.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, it's probably his toughest opponent.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I know McCain was a veteran and all that good stuff, you know, a true blue Republican. But Mitt Romney was one of those progressive Republicans that I'm like, yo, he could appeal to the other side.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
Obama got Obamacare for Romney care. So that wasn't no Democratic health plan. That was a Republican health plan from fucking Romney.
Yeah.
Let's be real, like as black people.
And I think Canada was already like on the whole universal health care kind of way. Yeah,
exactly.
So eventually it comes from Canada, but like you said, Romney care.
Yeah, that's what it was. Ain't that some shit?
And that's why I was just kind of, hey, I don't know. Mitt Romney, I'm like, this is the kind of opponent Barack deserved because, yo, you really had to sit back and think, yo, who does my agenda align with? Does my agenda align with his agenda? Do I stay with Barack or do I move on to this? And we saw, I wasn't that election was a little bit closer, right?
It was closer, but you know.
I mean, Barack still, you know, did his thing, you know. Barack Hussein.
That's crazy. Barack Hussein beat out the Mormon.
Yeah,
that was it. The Mormonism scared some people. They ain't get it. Like, what's this Mormon shit? Y'all believe in this space invader dude coming down?
That's probably what made us say, hey, you know what?
You take the black guy.
Yeah, yeah. He seems safe.
Right.
We'll go with him for now.
Right. We'll go with Hussein.
Oh, man. All right, y'all. Well, we're going to go ahead and bring this thing on to a close. I hope y'all enjoyed the conversation that was had tonight. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend and tell a friend. BlvdAve is back. I know some people, you know what I mean. Y'all was kind of slow to get to the latest episode, man. And I said, hey, I ain't gonna hold it against them. We was gone for a while, so they had to warm back up to it. But in the midst of that, there was content being produced, and I do thank y'all for checking out that content and continue to check out that content. The Late Nights Podcast is back. Vern is a part of that along with Miss Chic, a.k.a. Tina. They are doing the third season of that. They just gave y'all a new episode yesterday, so that audio will be ready and delivered to y'all in a couple of days. Dondi and Devereaux also recorded today, so I hope y'all enjoyed that today. If you watched on YouTube, if you didn't, also that audio is coming soon. Hot Take Wrestling, we came out a couple days ago. That's me, my boy Joe, my boy KG, all right, our boy King William, aka Ill Will, he is on there as well. And man, we're just gonna keep pushing this content and keep trying to get to that east side apartment in the sky. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I have anything else to add news-wise. Make sure y'all following at BlvdAve_radio. Make sure you're following me on Instagram at Logan the Great. That is LOGANTHEGR8. All right. You can also follow us on Twitter at I don't know. Let me say it off. I don't know them offhand, but I'm trying to get them Twitter numbers up. So let me tell you real quick what my Twitter is. Old Man Logan Inc. You can follow me on Twitter at that. You can follow the NMG Network, NMG Podcast Network at NMG NETWRK. Vern isn't on Twitter yet, but you definitely need to follow.
I'm on it. Look, I'm going to be honest. All my shit is the same. It's Vernon J. Young. That's on Twitter.
You just get your interaction up.
Instagram.
Okay.
TikTok. It's the same shit on all of them.
All right. Late Nights Pod. The Late Nights Pod is on Twitter as well at Late Nights Pod. Y'all make sure y'all check that out. And follow. Hit that follow button and subscribe, man. You know. I don't have anything else to add, so I just want to thank y'all for y'all time. Make sure you hit the follow on YouTube, people. Hit the follow, hit the like, hit the notification button so you know every time there is something coming from the NMG Podcast Network. All right? Until the next joint, y'all take it easy. Y'all have a good one, and I catch y'all down the road, baby.
Yeah. Look. I could say the world on a Thursday, get drunk Friday, pack all Saturday and Sunday the highway. Yeah.
DJ Hustlenomics, this shit bang,
I could say
broski.
the world on a Thursday, get drunk Friday, pack all Saturday and Sunday the highway. Do it for the thrills, bitch. I'm drilling them drill bits. Shorty on the sideline flanking, I'ma still hit. You gotta know when you approach by the real shit. They greet me like your honor. Chi-Town's meal tick. Yeah, I'm used to living in a zone. The side skirts a blur, I push the limit to the bone. Listen, she used to orgasms, bright lights. Lames get avoided, but could board it for the right price. Yeah, and I assured her the nightlife and bagged me a dime. That's a store for all the right pipe. Yeah, the shit is curvy as a chick's waist. Drunk hitting